Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with our first slide titled Integers. In this session, we'll explore what integers are, why they matter, and how we use them in everyday life. We'll cover key concepts and some interesting examples along the way. So let's get started and dive into the world of integers. Let's take a look at the contents of this presentation. We'll start with the introduction, then move into properties of addition and subtraction. We'll define key concepts and explore properties like the commutative and distributive properties. We'll also discuss multiplication and division, their properties, and important concepts like the multiplicative identity and the additive inverse. Throughout, I'll highlight how these ideas connect to help us understand the fundamental rules of math. Understanding these properties is essential because they form the foundation for more complex calculations and problem solving. So, as we go through, keep in mind how each property simplifies our work and makes math more manageable and logical. Let's begin with the introduction. This slide is all about setting the stage for our discussion. First, I want to emphasize that a strong introduction is crucial because it helps establish the context and grabs the audience's attention right from the start. It's where we outline the main themes and give a preview of what's to come. By organizing our text content clearly and logically, we ensure that our message is easy to follow. Think of this slide as the foundation of our presentation. Everything else builds on this opening. So, as we go through, I'll be explaining each key point thoroughly, but in a conversational way, making sure it's engaging and relatable. Most importantly, I want to highlight the core concepts that will tie into the overall theme of our presentation, whether it's about innovation, change, or growth. Keeping these ideas interconnected helps the audience stay focused and see the bigger picture. So, with that in mind, let's move forward and explore how a well-crafted introduction sets the tone for everything that follows. Let's take a closer look at the definition of integers. Integers are a larger collection of numbers that include not only the whole numbers we already know, but also their negative counterparts. So, when we talk about integers, we're referring to all the whole numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on, as well as their negative versions, such as -1, -2, -3, and so forth. This expanded set of numbers is really useful because it helps us represent situations where values can go below 0, like temperatures below freezing or financial losses. Understanding this broader collection of numbers is fundamental because it lays the groundwork for more advanced concepts in math and helps us see the bigger picture beyond just counting. So, in essence, integers make our number system more complete by including both positive and negative whole numbers. Let's talk about some important points when it comes to adding integers. First, if you add two positive integers, the result is always positive. For example, 3 plus 5 equals 8. Similarly, if you add two negative integers, the result is negative, like -2 plus -4 equals -6. Now, an interesting concept here is the additive inverse of a number. Think of it as the opposite. For example, the additive inverse of 8 is, and vice versa. If you have -8, its additive inverse is 8. When you're adding one positive and one negative number, the process is a little different. You find the difference between the two numbers, and then you take the sign of the larger number. That is, the one with the greater absolute value. For example, -56 plus 73 results in 17 because 73 is bigger than 56, and it's positive, so the answer is positive 17. Another example is -113 plus 82, which gives because 113 is bigger, and the result takes the sign of the larger number, which is negative. Now let's connect this to subtraction. Subtracting one integer from another can be thought of as adding its additive inverse. So, instead of subtracting 73 from 56, we add the opposite of 73, which is. That way, 56 minus 73 becomes 56 plus -73, and that equals. Understanding these rules is crucial because they form the foundation for working confidently with integers. Remember, addition and subtraction are closely related, and knowing how to handle the signs and the additive inverse helps us keep everything straight. Let's talk about some important properties of addition and subtraction when working with whole numbers and integers. First, let's look at closure under addition. What does that mean? It means that if we add two whole numbers, the result is always another whole number. For example, if we add 17 and 24, we get 41, which is also a whole number. This property is called the closure property for addition because the set of whole numbers closes under addition. Similarly, when we add integers, the result is always an integer, so we say that integers are closed under addition. In general, for any two integers, a and b, their sum, a plus b, will always be an integer. Now, moving on to subtraction. What happens when we subtract one integer from another? Let's look at an example. 7 minus 9 equals -2. Notice that the result is still an integer. This shows us that integers are also closed under subtraction. So, if a and b are two integers, then their difference, a minus b, will always be an integer. This idea of closure helps us understand how these operations keep us within the same set of numbers, which is a fundamental concept in mathematics and helps us build a solid foundation for more advanced topics. Let's talk about the commutative property. For any two integers, say a and b, we can say that a plus b is the same as b plus a. In other words, addition is commutative because you can switch the order without changing the result. However, when it comes to subtraction, things are different. Subtraction is not commutative for integers. To see this, let's consider the integers 5 and -3. If we look at 5 minus -3, that equals 5 plus 3, which gives us 8. But if we switch the order and look at -3 minus 5, that equals -3 minus 5, which results in -8. So, as you can see, the two results are not the same. This example highlights an important point. While addition can be rearranged freely, subtraction cannot. This distinction helps us understand the structure of operations in mathematics and how they behave differently. Now let's take a look at the distributive property, or rather, how addition behaves with integers. You might remember that addition is associative for integers, which means that no matter how we group the numbers when we add them, the sum stays the same. In more formal terms, for any integers a b and c, we can say that a plus the sum of b and c is the same as the sum of a and b plus c. To make this clearer, let's look at an example. Consider 2 plus the sum of 3 and -2. According to the associative property, this should be the same as 2 plus 3, and then adding -2. When we do the math, 2 plus 3 plus -2 simplifies to 2 plus 1, which equals 3. And if we do it the other way, 2 plus 3 plus -2, we get 5 plus -2, which also equals 3. This example highlights a key concept. The way we group numbers when adding integers doesn't change the result. This property helps us understand the structure of addition and makes calculations more flexible. It's a fundamental part of how we work with integers, and it connects back to the overall theme of understanding properties that make arithmetic consistent and reliable. Now let's talk about the additive inverse, starting with 0. When we add 0 to any integer, the result is always the same integer. This idea is what we call the additive identity for integers. It's like 0 is the neutral element in addition. In more general terms, for any integer, if we add 0, we get a back. So we write it as a plus 0 equals a, and similarly, 0 plus a equals a. This symmetry shows that 0 doesn't change the value of the number when added to it. This concept is fundamental because it connects to the broader idea of how addition works in the set of integers. Recognizing 0 as the additive identity helps us understand how to manipulate and think about numbers systematically. It's a key piece of the overall theme of understanding the properties of numbers and their operations. Let's talk about multiplication and division involving negative integers. A key point to remember is that if the number of negative integers in a product is even, then the result is a positive number. Conversely, if there's an odd number of negative integers, the answer will be negative. So, for example, multiplying 2 negatives gives a positive, but multiplying 3 negatives results in a negative. Another important concept is what happens when we multiply or divide a positive number by a negative number. In these cases, we perform the operation as if both were positive, and then we simply add a minus sign in front of the result. This helps us keep track of the sign correctly without confusion. These rules are fundamental because they help us determine the sign of the result quickly and accurately, which ties back to our overall goal of mastering integer operations confidently. Let's talk about the multiplicative identity now. The key point here is that the number 1 is the multiplicative identity for integers. What does that mean? It means that when you multiply any integer by 1, the result is just the integer itself. So, in mathematical terms, this is expressed as a times 1 equals 1 times a, which in turn equals a. This property is fundamental because it shows that multiplying by 1 doesn't change the value. It's a simple yet powerful concept that helps us understand how numbers behave under multiplication. And as we continue exploring properties of numbers, keep in mind how this identity acts as a foundation for many other mathematical principles. Let's take a closer look at the commutative property. This property tells us that when it comes to addition and multiplication, the order in which we perform these operations doesn't actually change the result. In other words, if I add two numbers, say a and b, then a plus b is the same as b plus a. The same idea applies to multiplication. This is what we mean when we say the commutative property is closed under addition and multiplication. However, it's important to note that this property does not hold for subtraction and division. Changing the order in those cases can lead to different results. For example, a minus b is generally not the same as b minus a, and similarly, a divided by b isn't necessarily equal to b divided by a. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding which properties are closed under certain operations helps us manipulate and simplify expressions correctly. It's a fundamental concept that guides us in algebra and other areas of mathematics. All right, let's talk about the distributive property, which is a really useful tool when working with numbers and algebra. Essentially, it helps us break down complex expressions into simpler parts. For example, when you see a term like a times the sum of b and c, or a times the difference of b and c, the distributive property tells us how to handle that. Specifically, if you have a times b plus c, it's the same as a times b plus a times c, and similarly, if it's a times b minus c, then it's a times b minus a times c. This property is key because it allows us to distribute the across the parentheses, making calculations easier and more manageable. Let's look at an example to see this in action. Suppose we have 2 times the sum of 3 and 5. Using the distributive property, we rewrite this as 2 times 3 plus 2 times 5. Calculating each part, we get 6 plus 10, which results in 16. What's important here is understanding that this property helps us simplify without changing the value of the expression. It's a fundamental concept that connects directly to algebraic manipulations and problem-solving strategies we've discussed earlier. So, mastering this property makes working with more complex expressions much more straightforward.